comes across, Heskey's there! Heskey scores the opening goal in the Premiership for Leicester City, the 18-year-old. And I think we're going to see a lot more from him this season. Emile Heskey in front of Shipley. Lennon. Heskey. Nice turn. Heskey draws away from Venison's challenge. What a goal! Oh! That's the goal of the season. It's got to be. A super strike from Emile Heskey. And Leicester City lead Southampton by 2-0. Well, he sidesteps the challenge from Venison. Almost stumbles, regains his balance, and drives it in past Bessant. Taylor got to the ball. Here's Lennon. Chance here maybe for Leicester City. They got bodies up. Lennon going all the way. He's in. It's a goal. Yes! Heskey the scorer. Martin got a touch. Heskey got the goal. 59 minutes into this game. It's Leicester City 1. Leeds United 0. Here's Heskey. He's not offside. It's young Heskey. He scores. It's 2-0 Leicester. Heskey, his 4th goal of the season. And Newcastle surely now are to be denied that record-equalling 8th win in a row in the Premiership. Parker. That's a dangerous ball in. Oh, it's there!
Emile Heskey, you are a top-class Premier League legend. You play for Liverpool, Birmingham City, Bolton Wanderers, and you scored around 150 goals in the Premier League. So thank you so much for coming onto the platform.
Thank you for having me.
The first question I want to ask you is, please tell us about your early life and playing for Leicester City's academy.
Early life, just regular. Obviously, born and raised in Leicester. Joined Leicester's academy from the age of around what we call academy now, but it was called Centre of Excellence back in the day, from about the age of 9, 10, and just enjoyed kicking the ball around and being with my friends. A lot of them were friends anyway, so enjoyed being around them, etc. And then just made the progression all the way through, which was, again, I spoke to a lot of friends of mine who took that same route, and all I said was I just enjoyed it. I just had fun with it, because I never once thought about, oh, it's a career, oh, it's this, it's that. It was just having fun, because I was good at what I was doing and I was enjoying it. So, and then from there, I was lucky enough or unlucky enough, but to I was 16 and I played with the first team in the pre-season friendly. Got injured in that one, but then came back fairly quickly, to be honest, from that. And again, my progression just went up, because I was at 15, I was playing 18s, under 18s football. And then 16, I'm playing first team football. 17, I've made my full debut, which is obviously a league match against QPR in the Premier League.
Thank you. And just following on from that, you made your debut at the age of 17 against QPR. How did you handle being in the limelight at such a young age?
I don't know, to be honest with you. Again, I was fair, especially then. I'm a fairly quiet person, so limelight wasn't easy. But I never put myself in a predicament to be out there and be this something that I wasn't. I was quiet, and I was quite happy being quiet. So I kept myself to myself and just concentrated on my football and let my football do the talking, because that was what, regardless of what it is, people want to talk to you because of your football. So let your football do the talking for itself. And that's all I wanted to do. I never really took to all the media. I'm taking to it now, which is different. But I never really took to it then, because I was just solely driven on football.
Thank you so much. And you signed for Liverpool on the 16th of March 2000 for around 11 million. the media was writing you off. How did you handle that to become a legend at the club?
Again, not looking too deeply into what people are talking about you, because I can talk about you, but I don't know anything about you. I can write whatever I want. And the funny thing is, the people who are writing about you, not the ones who are actually buying you. People are buying you are the ones that know what you're about. Because I know I went to Liverpool at 22, but I'd been linked with Liverpool from the age of 16. So that it's not like they've just went, yeah, I want it. No, they've been watching me and trying to get me from an early age. So I didn't really feed too much into any negativities that anyone else has. That's their negativities, not mine. So I allowed them to do what they're doing, because that's what they're there for. That's what they get paid to do. I get paid to play football. I get paid to go and entertain on the football pitch, and that's all I thought about. I'm not gonna sit here and say it didn't affect me. I'm not gonna say I didn't read it. Most of the time, I didn't read it. When I did read it, it was when other people were giving it to me. You know, because at the end of the day, if it's not in your face, how are you supposed to know about it? So, and that's one thing I try to tell people: you can switch it on and off. Now, one thing with the human beings is, and people, we can have 100 fantastic reviews on ourselves, and one bad one. We'll only focus on that one bad one. So I wouldn't even bother getting involved in all that. I tell people, just leave it. Don't even look at it. You concentrate on what you're doing, because the people who inevitably pick you for whatever sport you're doing or whatever you're doing, they see something in you. Work off that. So I never overly thought about what people had to say.
Thank you so much for that answer. It was a really, really great answer. You have been really bold in talking about your own mental health struggles when you started off at Liverpool. What advice could you give to others that are struggling from depression?
Mine was more to do with leaving a family network, or leaving a network of people that, because you got to remember, I was born and raised in Leicester. I had my family network, I had all my friends network, and then I'm going to another city, and that city could have been in another country. It could have been down the road. It just wasn't home. And I found it difficult. I couldn't find a barber. And as you know, as a black person, if you can't find a barber, that can be stressful in itself. And just everything, just what it was a little bit too much. But it was weird, because I'd go to training and I'd be fine, because that was kind of my safe haven. Then I'd leave training. I'm like, oh no, I'm back in this world. I'm back in this, and I don't know how to deal with it. One thing it did make me do, it made me grow up very quickly, because I had 2 kids at the time as well. So I couldn't necessarily wither. I just had to grow up very quickly. One thing I would say is, for anyone going through things, ask for help. There are people that are out there, even your teammates, family members, who would be so happy that you ask them for help. But we're so macho, and we're so thinking that we don't need help from anyone, and we don't want to talk to anyone about this and talk to them about that, that we just bottle everything up, and then things go worse for you. But there's so many people out there that would help you. Like, I didn't even know how to get to the training ground. Little things like that, and that would stress me out. I'm like, well, it shouldn't really stress you out. And this, by the way, this is before we had all Google and all these maps and all that, by the way. So it was just one thing after another, just felt difficult, but it wasn't. It was all in my mind.
Thank you so much for that, and just drawing upon your own life experiences too. At both club level and international level, from both players and fans who experienced racism, what advice would you give to young footballers that are intimidated by the racism they face within the sport?
I don't think you should be intimidated by racism, to be honest with you. Racism is cowardly. So there's no macho about racism. They're cowards. And as well, I think now is probably is a fantastic time, because you have a facility a facility to actually report. There was no such thing back when I was playing, and even before I was playing, it was normal. Before I was playing, when I was growing up, it was normal to walk down the road and be racially abused. It was normal to see a group of people and be weary and probably cross the road. So these sort of things were normal. Now it's not. So you have facilities, you have the ability to report certain things and report it and chase it up as well, because as well you have the right to chase things up and to ask for action. Whereas I can only go back to my time, that wasn't there. So utilize it.
Thank you so much for that answer again. And there are lots of young people that would aspire to be like you. So what advice would you give to young people that aspire to become a professional footballer?
Well, what are you wanting to become a professional footballer for? You've got to have you got to have aims, you got to have aspirations, and aiming high is always good. Working hard on it. You're gonna have setbacks. I talk about my my playing career. I had setbacks throughout the whole thing, even from 15, from 14, 15, getting a few injuries, niggly things. Then leaving school at 16 and being at the back of all the running. These you might think, oh, they're simple setbacks. No, these are big setbacks in my eyes. Being at the back of all the running, and I have to push myself to within that 6 weeks of pre-season training to be at the front, and then push myself to be playing first team football. Then push myself. I'm always having to push myself, and this is one thing that you've got to be able to do within yourself, because you've got it within yourself. Everyone's got it within them. You might not be better than so and so, but let's take one step at a time. And this is what I always tell myself: who's in front of me now? Okay, I'm going to try and catch them. I'm going to talk about running, by the way. And then the next one, okay, he's in front of me now. I'm kind of trying to catch him. And I just take one step at a time, but as well enjoy it, because generally, when you're enjoying stuff, you're going to get the most out of yourself. When you're not enjoying it, it becomes a chore. And football is a fantastic sport that will take you all over the world, all over the country, and all over the world. Fingers crossed. So just enjoy it. It's going to be a roller coaster ride of emotions, and that happens not just over a course of a season or a course of a career. That happens over a course of a game. So you just take it all in and enjoy.
Liverpool with only 3 players within the Coventry penalty area. The 3 heavyweights flicked across. Heskey again. He is absolutely deadly. Heskey again. Troubles brewing when he gets the ball, because he can't stop scoring.
Wrong by Hoopier. Murphy. Fowler. 1-0 to Liverpool.
Heskey. Emile Heskey. And they've got one back.
Heskey, 2 on his back. Managed to keep the attack alive for Liverpool. This is Christian Ziege. And it's in. Turned into his own net by Mark Fish. Smitzer. Crossing for Heskey. 2-0 to Liverpool.
Thank you so much for that. And outside of football, what are your hobbies?
Hobbies. I don't play golf. I know. My mates keep telling me to take up golf, to be honest with you, and I don't. I don't really have much. I've got kids who play football. I've got kids who. My daughters are starting doing gymnastics now as well. I'm coaching at the minute with the Leicester Women's. So outside of football, it's very, very tight. So I'm more of a taxi driver for the kids than anything else.
Thank you for that. On 442's list of Premiership football, of the greatest Premiership footballers of all time, you're listed on there.
Oh,
so what guidance would you kind of give to young people that kind of want to constantly improve themselves? So they want to aspire to be great at something, not necessarily football, but they want to kind of replicate, a level of success that you have, but not in football, but in other areas as well.
It's the dedication to whatever you're doing. You can always learn. One thing you got to remember is everyone looks at me and being a footballer at 16, 17. I started at 9. And this is one thing as well that people forget. I started at 9, I finished at 38. Between that time, I was constantly doing the same thing over and over again to make myself better every day, if I possibly can, tweaking it a little bit, whether it be my diet, whether it be more training, whether it be less training, whether it be more water, whatever it is, I'm always tweaking it. I'm always trying to learn. And that's one thing as well. Even now I'm doing coaching, I never stop learning. And this is one thing that people, whatever you're doing, you'll never stop learning. You're always learning about people. And that's one thing as well, because again, we always look at football and say, oh yeah, that footballer there. No, but without his teammates, he would have been nothing. So we all need to learn that we all play a part within this sport, or within this company, or within this whatever you're going to be doing, and you've got to find your niche within there and know that you're worthy of being in with that and what you bring to the table. So for myself, I knew what I was good at, and I ran with it. I could have changed and been more of this, but would it have been me? I don't think it would have been me. And anyone you speak to about myself will tell you exactly the way that I play is the way that I am off the pitch anyway. So you got to find it within yourself and find your own niche and run with that and work hard on it. Again, taking your time to learn and keep learning and keep focusing on what you want and keep doing it. In training, we were doing. I remember me and my best mate. We grew up together. We played for Leicester youth together. We would go out running late at night, and we'd go for a 12-minute run, and then we'd look at each other and say, "Do you think we've done enough? No, let's go again." And we'd go again. But you have to have that dedication to go, and because not all the time it's going to be pretty, and not all the time you're going to feel like you want to do something. But you got to force yourself to go and do it. Like now, I finished school at 16. I'm back in education at 42. I was supposed to do it 2 years ago, but mentally I just couldn't get my head around going back sitting in the classroom. It took me 2 years to get over that. Now I'm back in the classroom. So now I'm learning a different side to myself, and I'm pushing myself, I'm challenging myself, and I'm learning.
Thank you so much. You mentioned earlier about your coach for Leicester. So what are your plans, like post-retirement? Like, what are your plans now that you've retired?
Well, at the minute, I'm actually ambassador for Leicester City Women's, and lucky enough, the manager's allowed me to do a bit of coaching. So I've got my B license. Well, I'm on my B license now. I'll step onto my A once that's finished, and dip my toe in the coaching role, which I'm enjoying at the minute. The girls are brilliant. They're fantastic. Women's football, I know a lot of people have some negative words towards women's football, but all positive, mate. All positive. Is the funny thing is all the people that have the negative things to say would never actually put themselves up against them and play a game against them, because they know that they'll be looking silly, because they're good players, all of them. So we've just come up into the Premier League, it's going to be a tough one for us, but we're looking forward to it, to be honest.
Thank you for that, and I'm excited that you're getting into coaching. That's brilliant. So the final question I'd like to ask you is, 40% of footballers post-retirement go into debt. What advice would you give to footballers that want to manage their financial assets? Again,
education. The funny thing is, right, we go to school for how long? We go from, say, 5 years old till 16, probably even later. That we have all this time in school, and no one teaches us anything about finance.
It's true.
All this time in schools, and no one teaches you a fundamental thing about finance. They kick you out and say, "Go and get a job." And this is one of the things. It's education. A lot of the people who do really well with the finances, I've learned a lot off their parents, because their parents are within that. A lot of the ones who haven't don't really have any education on that. From, obviously, don't get it from school. They don't get it from their parents. And I think there is more need to do from schools, because again, for me, I don't need to do half of the lessons that you tell me to do. that's not going to help me when fundamentally I need to learn about this, this, and this. I'm clever. I might be good at starting a business, but how do I do that part of the business? How do I do this part of the business? What about the accounting part of the business? We don't learn any of that. So one thing is education, because again, footballers have so much time on their hands as well, which we don't realise. We have so much time. Even the girls now, the women's football is a lot better than the men's when it comes to dual career, or even just having education alongside. So they're much more open. So we're having conversations about, what is it that you want to do? Do you want to do a course in this, 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 and this? Maybe do one in that. I quite like that, because when I was younger, this is what I wanted to be. All right, well, twice a week, 3 times a week, on your either your day off or in the afternoon, I can get you an hour placement or 2-hour placement in that place. And the girls are a lot more open for that sort of thing. You got a lot of them have degrees and doing more. A lot of them have their coaching badges and doing more. So I think football has a lot more to do, and not just football. I think schooling has a lot more to do.
Thank you so much for such an exceptional interview, Emile. I wish you all the best of your coaching career. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We've had lots of tweets from people saying you've got to get Emile to talk about that night in Munich, one of the greatest nights as an Englishman there ever was. I mean, not least being on the pitch. It was a unique game, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it was. I think you realise now how unique it was, and
what a team,
going into the game, everyone knew the pressure on, because we lost the last game at the old Wembley against Germany. Diddy, thanks, had scored.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, so this was a very important game, and the pressure was on it. And after 6 minutes, 7 minutes, we're down 1-0. So we got it up against it, and the lads just regrouped, and once we started getting that one goal, and then we started popping it around, and then we got the other goal and the next goal, and Michael got his hat-trick, and then put the nail in the coffin with the 5th. So it was great.
But it was that extraordinary night that, as Englishmen and as England fans, you so rarely see, where the team has so much potential, was playing with confidence.
Yeah, definitely. I think Sven put that into us. You know, he was really good. Sven was one of the managers that when you went onto a pitch, you knew exactly what you wanted to do. You knew exactly what he wanted you to do. You had this little clipboard, and you're thinking, just throw that away. But the clipboard was how he showed you where he wanted you to be, or how he wanted you to be structured. We didn't lose many games under Sven, to be honest with you, and that's because the organisation was.
You were part of what was notoriously called the Golden Generation. You played in 4 major tournaments. Which one of those tournaments do you think was the tournament where we should have done better than we did?
Probably 02 World Cup. I felt we could have done better in the Brazil game.
Why haven't we managed to succeed where we all expected or hoped we could?
I'm not sure. You know, I can't say that we choke at tournaments or anything like that. I don't think we're really prepared for tournaments. One-off games, you know, qualifications, we go through them no problem. When you get to a tournament and the mindset of being in a hotel all together, you know, and preparing all together and being together as a group, it's not quite there yet for us. And I slowly think we'll get better, but it will take time.